So the next thing I remember, I was out of my body, floating. I was in the white light. It was all around me. I wasn't going into the white light. I was in the white light. And below me I could see it was nighttime. My body was leaning against a tree with my legs straight out on the ground. A police officer was crouching over me. I assume he pulled me out of the car, but I never verified that part. And so I was in the white light looking down in this. It seemed totally fine. My head was cracked open. My eyes were closed, and but it seemed fine. So I was in the white light. Behind me was this big circle of white, a different shade of white, and then within that was like a silhouette, like a full body silhouette of a person, and kind of even another shade of white light beaming off, radiating off of that person. I don't know how long it was, and the main thing was how it felt. And even as soon as I say that now, it's like, oh man, it feels so nice. Like sometimes people say, did you have a body? It felt like I had a body because I felt this nice feeling. I didn't look down to see if I had a body, but so I just had this feeling. It felt so nice, and physically nice, emotionally nice, like everything was okay, the world was okay, everything was good. And it wasn't like this celebration kind of thing. It was like just everything was okay. Someone said it might have been divine intervention because the car was so smashed, it's hard to believe I survived it all. It was a very feeling, kinesthetic thing for me. And so then the being behind me said, you have to go back, your father wants you to stay. I knew at that very moment the father he was talking about was God, not my physical father. And so I went back in my body and came 2-3 days later in the hospital. So I was sitting in Tarrytown, New York, in my apartment, and someone knocked on the door. And I always joke around, now if someone knocks on the door, I don't even answer it because I assume it's an Amazon package. Or, if someone would text me if they're coming over. But back then, someone knocks on the door, oh, hey, how you doing? So there was this beautiful woman at the door, and she said, she said she's a sister of a friend of mine from Colorado, and she said, I heard some interesting things about you. And basically she heard about my near-death experience, and she came in and told me she knows someone who teaches about what happens after we die. And this was like, because I was pretty much trying to ignore what happened because there was no purpose in it. And so she introduced me to this spiritual teacher, and he started to talk to, so he had had a near-death experience, and other people that would study with him had a near-death experience. But he was actually a Sufi sheikh from the Islamic tradition. I was born in a Jewish family. So, I don't know, but when she told me, it was like, I need to hear about this. And he talked to me about a couple of things, and when he talked, like he knew what I needed to hear. So he talked to me about these things, and I was going, oh, that's what I experienced. First he talked to me about Mary, and Mary's love of God, and her openness to the Christ and God. And I said, oh, that was the feeling. And I still, when I say that, I get that feeling. Then he talked about Jesus, and I realized that being behind me was Jesus. So I knew what to think about it, but also in a very deep feeling way, I knew that. The other thing he mentioned was the ocean of divine love and benevolence, which is a thing in the Islamic religion, and there's some variations on that saying, but then I knew, well, that's the white light that I felt. It was like the ocean of white light of love and benevolence. And he just started to talk to me about all these spiritual things, and it was just I was just soaking it in, because even though I was trying to ignore it, I had those questions. So that's when I learned what to think about what happened. In a certain way, saying any words on it is hard, because it's, even when you're saying knowing something, it would mean there's something that you have to know. There's also the ability to not know it, but it was more like being a part of this. I describe it like the perfect summer day, or you're in a lake, or something where the water's the perfect temperature. But people get it when I say that and then add on, and there's no way to explain it, and then they get it. I had a friend who passed away a few years ago, and I knew her since she was very young, and I was really good friends with her brother, not always really good friends with her. It was funny because when we were much younger, we just knew each other. My brother was good friends with her brother, and then some years later we found we were doing similar spiritual studies, so we became closer like later in life. And then she got sick, and she was sick for quite a while, and then all of a sudden she got much worse. And I didn't really feel drawn to go see her. She was in a hospital in, I think, in Brooklyn. Brooklyn, and or the Bronx. Some part of Manhattan, some part of New York City, not in Manhattan. And something happened where my daughter went to a Broadway show with one of her friends, so I took her into the city and dropped her off there, and I had a few hours, and it was like, oh, I should go see, my friend. And I went there, and I knew what was going on with her because we had common friends and everyone would post things on Facebook, and I went there, and it was kind of like her family was so afraid for her to die. I mean, I could tell she was ready to pass on. And, I went there, and she was very weak. A lot of times she couldn't even talk. She asked me to work on her, so I did some energy balancing, and I could see she started to feel much more relaxed and better. And it was funny because her mom wanted me to leave, and I knew her mom since I was a little kid, but her mom wanted just family to be there. And this woman reached up and grabbed my arm and said, "Stay," in this very powerful voice from this very weak place. So I stayed with her. But I knew, and even our friends were online saying, oh, she's not doing very well. And then after I was there, I said, she is doing very well. She's getting ready to pass. And I knew with what I did, and I said a prayer and held the spiritual light there for her, that she was going to pass pretty soon, and she did. But she went into this peacefulness inside and accepting that, and was able to kind of do what she needed to do, regardless of her family just kind of urging her, spiritually and psychically to stay there and stuff. But it was really beautiful to be a part of that. Passing on is part of life, and it is, you get to go to this beautiful place that I got to experience in my near-death experience. I mean, I can see a lot of things in spirit now, which is kind of cool, but I can tell sometimes people believe in things that's different than experiencing it. I mean, I have this gift that I can hold that energy around people, and they can really feel it a whole lot more than just believing it in their mind. We're like angels, and although we're not angels, but it's like that, and we live in this wonderful place that is kind of like what people think of as heaven. And there is work to do, and there's stuff to learn there, but there's no physical body, and it just is that feeling that I was describing, how feeling so good and knowing everything and loving everything. That's my understanding. Even it starts, it's even now it's like almost starting to laugh and almost feel like crying. It's so beautiful. That's how wonderful it is. And I have to remember to connect to that because I am still of the physical world, and there's a lot of things that go on that are, and there's things in the spirit that are challenging us doing that. So it takes, and I encourage the listeners to meditate regularly and journal write. Those are probably the two most important things. And take care of yourself, honor your gifts, whatever it is, whatever that thing is inside you that's a gift, your positive attributes, just really honor. And I want to say honor, because I don't even, again, it's kind of like you just respect those gifts from God so much that you're honoring yourself and this thing I'm talking about, but they're together. Thank you. This was great. It was nice that you were open to hearing about this, and I really got into the joy about it, and that's why it's so great to share this, and hopefully people will pick up on that. It's great. Thanks.